Tēnā koutou katoa, no mai, haere mai, and welcome to the Petone Recreational Ground for this round 9 match between Petone and Wainuiomata. 4 versus 12 on the table, and what is pretty much miserable conditions here at the Petone Rec. Doesn't help even more so that the grandstand is closed to the general public because apparently the roof might fall down in an earthquake. Who would have thought that? Bureaucracy at its finest. But here we are at Petone Recreational Ground. We're effectively known to be the only people allowed in the broadcast here today to be on the grandstand. So we are the lucky few, much as the council might be watching with a grateful eye. Joining me in co-commentary this afternoon, plays his rugby for the second 15 at St Bernard's College. No game today. He's a Law Petone junior over the years, and his mother runs the Jackson Street program. And of course, they're doing some big unveilings very soon on Jackson Street for some of the new legends inducted into the Hall of Fame. Matthew Fisher. Matthew, many thanks for coming on the broadcast. Your thoughts on today's game?
Thank you for having me, Brad. And well, it's really interesting now because Wainui got midfield pairing of Petone Jensen and Balin Sullivan. So if you would have thought at the start of the week that Petone was going to blow Wainui out the park, it's crazy now. Especially with these type of conditions too.
Well, we've been held here as like gods up here on the balcony because we're the only ones allowed up here. So let's have a look at the two teams for this afternoon. For Petone, the fullback is TJ Clark. The wings are Richard Evans and Lossie Filippo. The midfield is Riley Higgins and Lester Mololo. The first 5 and captain is Kyan Green. Halfback is Cam Ferreira. The 8 is Filippo Sapaya. 7 and playing his 50th game today, his blazer game, is Mason Henry. Teddy Hearn at 6. The locks are Jack Ross and Sam Tonesi. And the front row is Ben Kershaw, Ryan Emery and Marcus Royals, having his first start of 2020. Petone with some late injury replacements, in particular Stanley Solomon out with a little hamstring tweak. It's nothing to, it's only a precaution, so he won't be playing today. And of course, Rory Willett, who played in the curtain raiser, went off at half-time with a leg issue, and he's been replaced in the reserves by Jacob Tainui, alongside Leighton Tupper, who's stepped up onto the reserve bench. For Wainuiomata this afternoon, this is their team. Fullback is Jason Love. The wings are Jacob Stowers Cassiano and Andrew Saul. Midfield is Peter Umanga Jetson and Balin Sullivan. First 5 is Tala Tane. Halfback is Keanu Kotohi. He's also the captain. 8 is the ever. The flanks are Avavata Sao and Kitiona Letufia. The locks are Marcus Stowers McCarthy and Zane Humphrey. And the front row, Connor, Sam Asirona and Cade Tiatia. An important game for this afternoon. Wainui, 12th on the table. Last week they had a tough loss against the top of the charts, Parramatta Plympton. They went down 16 to Parramatta Plympton. Petone last week had Avalon at home, winning that game 38 points to 10. And of course, if you're watching this broadcast, it's fantastic to have you watching Hardy Sports. Make sure you subscribe this video. And here comes Wainuiomata onto the field, wearing their green and black jerseys. And they'll be boasted in particular, as mentioned earlier by Matthew Fisher, in the lead-up with Peter Umanga Jensen and Balin Sullivan playing his first game for Wainuiomata this afternoon. And here comes Mason Henry, a proud moment for Mason Henry, his 50th game. Not only has he played at 7, but he's also played on the wing. Mason Henry, product of Hutt International Boys School. His brother Taylor is on the bench. Logan unavailable for duties today, who's also part of the Hurricane squad. Our officials for this afternoon, refereeing his 98th Premier game, is Hamish Mexted. And has recently been elected to the WRFU Board of Directors as Hamish Mexted. He'll be assisted by Ollie Mickey and also our visitor from Queensland, Ziggy Day. What a great name that one is. Lucky his name's not Stardust. So the match is awaiting the start of Hamish Mixted's whistle. It will be Wainuiomata kicking to the south. As we await this broadcast from the royal balcony here at the closed Petone grandstand, and Hamish Mixted gets this match underway. And it's going to be picked up well by Richard Evans, back from injury. He was actually named on the bench, but has stepped up to starting wing after Stanley Solomon pulled out this morning. Reaching in, surveying Petone, capping the forwards there. They'll be a bit worried with their injury toll they've had for all season. Box kick comes in from Ferreira. Chase after it is Jason Love-Rogers, who's wearing the long skins this afternoon. The ball's being knocked on before going into touch by Petone. And so a scrum here for Wainuiomata. Updates from around the grounds. It's our first scrum of the afternoon, Matthew, and the forward battle could be quite interesting.
Yeah, on paper, Petone's definitely more experienced forwards, but Wainui, you never know, their young guns might pull through here, but if we're talking about experience, Petone's got vast difference of experience.
Wainuiomata successful scrum out to Umaga Jensen, offloads it well, and that's been well taken that time there by Sa'u. And now 10 metres out, Teru Time wearing his iconic green headgear, charging forward. An advantage being played here against Petone, potentially for offside. And there's the call from early penalty here for Wainuiomata. Interested to see here Tyler Tanai if he steps up and takes the penalty shot at goal. 941 career points for Tyler Tanai. Last year he played for Marist St. Pat's and Upper Hutt. And most of his games have been for Wainuiomata, and he's elected to take the shot at goal here, Matthew.
Good decision. I mean, it's going to be one of those close games where there's going to be a few, but these two teams do match up quite evenly. Usually it's always a battle, even in past years as well, so good decision. But yeah, it's going to be a close one.
Heavy field conditions, as you can see, probably in the southern end. Once this kick goes over, there is literally a lake, the southern end of Petone Rec. Kick comes through from Tyler Tane, and that is successful. And so Wainui ahead in this match, 3-0, with roughly 2.5 minutes gone. Both teams today playing for played in the front row, particularly for Wainuiomata, and coaching rows at Petone as well, before he moved on to become the recruitment and development manager at the Hurricanes. And the history of this match in the last decade has been one to savour and celebrate about, particularly if you're a Wainuiomata faithful. The restart comes through and it's just hit a puddle. Tyler Tane has to kick that ball down. Chasing back after it is TJ Clark, and look at it, it's just stopped in the 22. Look at all the water, you can just see it to the players. And it's going to be a line out here for Wainuiomata, 11 metres inside Petone's half. Now Ziggy Day, the assistant referee here from Queensland, probably hasn't seen this much mud. He's actually covered head to toe in it, Matthew.
He is, actually. And also, to do with the crowd, it looks like it's a home game for Wainui. There's a lot of supporters out here. But yeah, I think the Petone faithful coming through. Let's hope so too. It's difficult without the grandstand, I might add.
7, 3, 2, 7.
Throw has gone astray from Asarona. And a penalty here against Wainuiomata. And Hamish Mixted very quickly telling Khan Green to calm down. Coming through the side there, and so a relieving penalty for Petone there, Matthew.
I think Khan Green, I think that's the first time a ref has actually told Khan Green to be quiet, actually. He is a bit of a loudmouth on the field, but sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But yeah, Petone definitely needed that penalty, just because it's definitely hard for them to make meters in this sort of field. Bad line out for Petone, but they ended up going through. Inside Wainui's 22 now.
Ferreira passes it into the hands of the ever-experienced Lossi Filippo. An advantage being played here for Petone. Khan Green, he's got Higgins out to his left. Higgins takes it into contact. He's going to go straight into his Hurricanes teammate, Wainuiomata Jensen, and dragged into touch. The arms come up from... There is a penalty. There's a bit of push and shove, and a bit of disagreement between both players, and Hamish Mixed has done the right thing here, Matthew, and brought proceedings to a stop.
Yeah, we don't want two Hurricanes teammates clashing. That'd be the worst thing for us. But yeah, lucky we got the penalty because inside. He probably should have gone to the outside, but he's more experienced than I am. He knows better. Khan Green opts to kick it out, just 5 meters out from Wainuiomata's line.
Ryan Emery, there's that annoying alarm from that car, keeps going off. It's been going off all afternoon. And it's a free kick against Wainuiomata. And Petone will elect to put a scrum.
Big scrum here from Petone.
Well, let's look at this. The backs lined up here, Matthew. They've got no one here on the blindside part of the field here. They're all stacked out to the right-hand side. We've got Lossi Filippo right behind the 8, about 10 back, with Khan Green to his right. But here we go. Look, he's changed direction. And here goes Filippo. Charges into a puddle of water. But he has gone into touch. And it was great vision there from the officials, particularly Ziggy Day, because you can't even see the line when all that water just came pulsing up there.
Yeah, the conditions are terrible, but he can't really do much. Where the footy is always the best, some say.
So Wainuiomata with the line out throw. And it's been knocked on, is it? No, it's been picked up by Wainuiomata. Just been astray a little bit, but they've managed to hang on to the ball. Talatana in the box seat. Plenty of time. It comes off the side of his boot. Not much metres gained there, only roughly about 10 metres. So Wainuiomata still not out of it, Matthew.
Yeah, that was a pretty poor kick, but I mean, to be fair, even the best world-class players like Bowden Barrett can kick like that sometimes, but big line out here from Petone. If they win this, they'll be in a great position.
It's on the afterburners and lunges forward. Wainuiomata stop him short of the line. Battle stations here for Wainui. It comes to the hands of Ben Kershaw. Ben Kershaw goes over and scores the first try of the match. And his first ever try in Petone colours. 5-3 with the conversion to come.
Great try. That was just a great set play, and that's exactly what Petone needed to get on board. And that all started off by, as Brad said before, the man playing his Blazer game, Mason reliable. But good on Ben for getting his first try. He's been playing so good the last couple games, and I believe he'll be in Petone for a long time.
Khan Green to line up this conversion. As we look, as you can probably see on the camera, you can just see there's lakes now starting to develop, particularly when the tide comes in from Petone Beach. It pushes the water up, Matthew, as you would know very well, having lived in this area of the woods for most of your existence.
Petone Beach. I don't think we need to get started on Petone Beach. They need to do.
The conversion sails straight through. So 7-3 in favour of the home side, Petone. This is the second lot of their games in a row. Of course, they had Avalon last week, Wainui today, and then, of course, the Wellington Axemen next Saturday. Before the big show in 2 weeks' time, the McBain Shield at the Hutt Recreational Ground. And what a beauty that game will be, Matthew.
Nerve-wracking game, especially last year when Tupou Supawanga just charged down the ball. And then Sam Blackburn, as your commentating partner said, he's now in Petone Folklore Legendaries. He's just a legend now.
Well, there's gone down by Wainuiomata, and it's been counted down by Khan Green, and Khan Green's having to slide back. Oh, look at this, it's like a water polo match as TJ Clark has to kick that into touch. Crazy at the southern end, and the flag of Ollie Mickey comes up, and now it's Wainuiomata. Well, big line out here for Wainuiomata. Petone under pressure. Let's see how the throw goes. It's been well taken that time there by Stowers McCarthy, but Hamish Mixted said the throw was not straight, and here's a look around him as he discusses with Ryan Emery. We were going to put this scrum down. It's just a lake. Now, of course, speaking of our Queensland visitor here, Matthew, assistant referee today, in Queensland, if they have lakes like this on the field, the game is cancelled, called off.
Yeah.
One of the differences there because they live in the tropics over there in Queensland.
It's always hot over there, eh? This is real rugby conditions.
Well, back in 2020, here in the Harlem Cup qualifier, and this was all underwater. The whole park was underwater. Here goes Riley Higgins, decides to run it out. Splash of water again. Waterlogged. These players might get trench foot with the amount of water that is logged into their shoes. Khan Green kicks this straight into touch on the eastern side. Inside Petone's 22 for Wainuiomata.
Yeah, that was the Parramatta Plymouton game, eh?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
Well, good line out here, taken by Petone. Emery looks to pass it off, but no supporting players could gather that ball, but Wainuiomata losing possession. Actually came from the line out, so it's going to be a Petone scrum here, 15 metres in from the eastern touchline. So, a sign of how difficult the playing conditions are. Let's take me home country road, players down in the change rooms. Apparently they're safe to be in.
But apparently not the grandstand. Playing on St. Bernard's fields last week. Bloody hell.
Well, those fields there pretty much shut down for the rest of the season. Actually, what was the old number 2, which is now the football field, has no grass in it whatsoever. To change sides, 98 Premier games. Now, if he told Mark Fairmaid on the Hutt City Sports Awards on Thursday, I predict he might have his 100th referee game for the McBain Shield. But stranger things. Stowers, Cassiano, and here goes TJ Clark kicking it through. Lossie Filippo having to lift those legs through this heavy mud, and it's the penalty against Wainui. Early, and it's been tapped quickly. Hamish Mixted. Well, despite the fact the ground Stoughton is close, a reasonable crowd here, considering the weather conditions today, Matthew.
Yeah, it's actually really, it's really good actually. A lot of Wainui supporters, more Petone supporters, but it's still early days, so it's definitely going to fill. But yeah, it's just a shame that the grandstand has been deemed unsafe. But
good secured line out here for Petone as they put the ball down into quarantine and they look to charge it forward.
great scrum.
And it's going to be a penalty try.
Wow.
The drive was pulled down by Wainui, and referee Mixted no choice but to award a penalty try. An automatic 7 points there for the home side, Matthew.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that was Jack Ross that was that scored scored the penalty try. But everyone was patting him on the head, so job Jack Ross. Obviously out of a quick retirement, so glad to have him back.
Well, we answered the call only, along with a whole lot of their forwards went down injured. And Jack Ross playing his 119th game for the Villagers. Restart by Tyler Tane is a low kick, dribbles into the 22, picked up by Richard Evans, Khan Green. And there'll be a line out here for Wainuiomata. Eastern touch line, 10 metres inside Petone's half. And let's just have a look at some of the scores from around the grounds. And across the bridge over at the Hutt Rec, the Hutt Old Boys Marist are just giving Auries an almighty beating, 17 points to. It's currently 8-0 to Pornicky over Marist St. Pat's. The throw not straight by Wainui. It's going to be another scrum here for Petone. 10-0, Old Boys University ahead of Wellington. And no score updates from North. 14-3 is the score here. 16 minutes gone in the first half.
Also, Harobo has just scored another try. Both of those teams are pretty up and down, actually. Like, Ori sometimes beats the best teams in a shaky start to the year, but I think they're coming together now, so it's going to be a good game for the McBain Shield. Hopefully, Petone takes it up.
Well, Maoris, of course, lost 2 games in the last week by 1 point, but they've been trailing by big margins in the first half of both those games. Ball just came straight out of the tunnel, so the scrum's going to have to be reset again. We're yet to see backline in action yet. In particular, Balin Sullivan. Of course, last year was starting mostly for the Hurricanes last year. Not selected for the game against the Blues tonight. And he was also part of the Waikato team, in particular that team that won in 2021, the MPC, coached by another Petone legend and Ross Filippo. Ball bounces in between Jason Love-Rogers and Cassiano. And Cassiano gets the ball from Rogers, is dragged into touch. Unfortunately, they can't really get around them, Matthew, the defence at the moment, Wainuiomata.
Yeah, that was a great front-up tackle by Lossi Filippo, and then a great cover-up tackle by the other winger, and Richard Evans. But, yeah, Petone really just needs to shut down Peter.
Kick well picked up. Jason Love-Rogers decides to kick it down towards Lossi Filippo, who lifts his... Smashed, and a good tackle. Ferreira finds the try scorer Kershaw. Here goes Sapaya. Sapaya start to descend to the colour of brown as mud descends across the Petone recreational ground. Good charge again. His 11th game for the Villagers this afternoon. Good back out here. Mololo.
Wainui's won the ball here.
Is just a legend, an absolute workhorse, is Teru teammate. 207 career points.
That's a great kick. That's a 50-22, I believe.
Yes, you are right, Matthew. That is a brilliant kick. 50-22 for Wainuiomata. Good vision there indeed. That's excellent play.
That's exactly what Wainuiomata needed, because our Petone forwards, they were obviously the big kick, so that's exactly what they needed with a big 50-22. Big line out here for Wainui. If they win this, they need to get back into this game.
Teammate offloads it to Umanga Jensen, looks to find Saul, but he can't, and he takes the ball into contact. Talatano finds Balin. Up well that time. The counter ruck is coming on, but Wainui have done well. They've got numbers back in time. Good risk. Tane lofts it over. Oh, good spot tackle that time by Khan Green. Excellent work by the Petone captain. Katohi back out to Time, but unfortunately too much butter on the fingers has resulted in a knock-on. An advantage being played here for Petone. Ferreira kicks it straight down over. Takes the ball into contact. This could be a bit difficult as Petone look to try and push through, but Wainuiomata have done well again. Umanga Jensen driving forward. Time in possession. Backwards, messy play. Sullivan tries to cut through, but referee Mexted has found a knock-on against Wainuiomata. And so it will be a scrum for Petone.
Great defense from Petone. In particular, one matchup that I like, even though he hasn't got really the name prominence, Balin Sullivan against Lester Malolo. This year just finding it difficult, but Lester Malolo played Wellington age grades, and coming back to Petone last year, he's definitely a workhouse, and I think I think he's one great matchup for today's match.
Last year, these two teams played at the end of the Swindale Shield, with Petone winning 24 points to 7 to take home the Swindale Shield. Different story and different conditions here today. Here goes Lossie Filippo, smashed by Sullivan. The ball's been popped out and loose, but it's been knocked on again by Wainuiomata, but there was a first and knock on by Petone. And so it'll be a scrum for Wainuiomata with roughly about 8 metres outside their 22.
I'm not too sure I saw a knock on better than we do. We're up in the grandstands, but yeah, I mean, that was a decent backline play, but you know, we're just getting we're stretching Wainui out for numbers, but Wainui, their defense only later on in this match is going to see some holes in Wainui's defense. So let's see how the match progresses. And obviously the weather is getting a little bit worse. But pretty dark today.
Well, it was similar last week too, Matthew. The game against Avalon, it got pretty dark, particularly at half-time.
Up like they're doing at Hut Rec. But I think we need to get this roof fixed first.
Well, the roof and the fields, Matthew.
Yeah.
Particularly the drainage. Apparently that's still a while away. Considering the well use of this facility here at Petone Recreational Ground, great history. Katohi feeds, it's a strong scrum from Wainui. Getting it out just in time. Umanga Jensen takes into contact, bounces off Kangaroo. Centre field of the ball with Teru teammate as the rain pours down. It's been knocked on, and that's a piece for a penalty try potentially as he was. Well, the Petone players have got their arms up in the air. The referees have decided no. I think they're quite lucky there, Wainui. Goal line dropout.
I think the sideline referee should have probably had a chat with the normal referee, but not everything goes everyone's ways. But yeah, Wainui, I believe they should just be starting to play more tight, because big wild passes like that and conditions like this, that only leads to moments like that, and even worse, because they could be scoring points.
With roughly about 15 minutes left in the first half. Petone ahead. They get the ball from the goal line dropout. Here's Filippo, who's been doing lots of running in these heavy conditions. It comes out to Sapaya. He's wrapped up away from the 22. In 2020, Umanga Jensen made a big difference in that game. What a game that was. Petone looked like they had it locked up, but Trey Mutai changed all that. Wainuiomata, but Petone have plenty of players back there. The reliable boot of TJ Clark guides into touch, and it's going to be a line out for Wainuiomata. 5 metres inside Petone.
Great kick, considering the amount of space he had. But yeah, that same thing that just happened with Wainui. Petone just need to, just get up and not do silly passes and just play tight.
Jack Ross manages to steal the ball from the Wainui line-out, and so Petone get back to their work again. Ferreira surveys. Teddy the legs and rumbles over halfway. Good shut that time by Ben Kershaw as he goes for a slide on the ground like he's going on a slippery slide. That time there, Samuel Tanisi, as Matthew will be in the showers for quite a while scrubbing.
At least 30 minutes. And they definitely need the soap, because it's pretty hard to tell who's playing on what team and who isn't.
Let's have some score updates from around the grounds. The Up Rams 5, Avalon 0, 24-0. Huddle Boys Marist to get ahead of Marist St. Pat's. 17-0, Old Boys University ahead of the Wellington Axemen, 17-0. And no score update from Johnsonville Tower or North's Parramatta Plymouth. Another penalty here for Petone.
Great push. Solid scrum from Petone. Wainui just got caught off guard there, I believe.
Lots of celebrations out there for Marcus Royal. First start for 2023, his 82nd game. Made his return last week and scored a try last week, Marcus Royal. Khan Green kicks this ball into touch. And it's going to be a line out roughly 12 metres away from the northern in goal for Petone. Time off here at the moment is change of hooker for Wainuiomata, Dion Lealofe coming onto the field. It happened because the line hasn't been functioning that well for Wainuiomata, Matthew.
Only 30 minutes a game. I feel bad for the bloke, but I don't know if he's off with injury or it's just an experience thing, but you know, hopefully he can correct those lineouts next week.
Messy ball, and the scraps have been picked up by Wainuiomata as the middle of the field descends to slush and mud and change direction. Kicks the ball down, it just bounces in front of Umanga Jensen into a pile of mud. He looks to step. Very heavy condition. Yes, high tackle called. Now, if you thought the field was bad last week, it's ripping up quite a lot here, and there's still another game on here next week, Matthew. Interested to see what they do, what happens with the ground during the next week.
Yeah, I think the poor field needs a break, eh? It's like, oh, I feel bad for who's the caretaker for the Petone Rec. He's going to be having one hell of a week.
I think the whole North Island just needs a break from rain at the moment. We've had so much of it since February. So here we go. First throw for Lealofe. And it's still relatively messy, but Wainuiomata still secure the ball. 22. And Petone swarm around. This is good here from Wainuiomata. Driving forward. Tane skips, has a go himself. He's got a gap here. He's going to go over the way and score for himself. He slides into a celebration of a lake. And Wainuiomata, good vision there from Tyler Tane, Matthew.
Ran through it, and I didn't realise that he had that type of pace on him, but good on him. But yeah, Petone just needed to get right with the defence. They needed to cut in, but they couldn't do it. So just coach killers like that would be annoying our coaching staff. But yeah, good gap from good gap and good vision. Hard kick. I think the puddle cleaned his jersey for him as well.
Saves on the washing bill. Tane to convert his own try. It's outside the 22, 15 in from the eastern touchline. Got plenty of distance, but it is missed. So the score will remain 14 points to 8 with 9 minutes to go in the first half. That game. Wainui will be pleased to narrow the score margin. Update from Helston Park. Tawa ahead of Johnsonville 7 points to 6. Expect that game to be extremely close this afternoon.
From the Wainui forwards, but I think, yeah, I was going to say, knock on from Wainuiomata. I was just about to say, I was like, how did he teleport exactly right there? But yeah, knock on from Wainuiomata and scrum from Petone, 22 metres out. Let's see what they can do here.
Well, a good platform for them here, Petone. Some points on the board after Wainuiomata getting on the board just roughly 2 minutes ago.
If I was the coach of Petone, I'd just be, if we get a penalty, just anywhere in the 22, I'd just be going for the penalty kicks, because it's going to be one of those games where it comes down to the game of inches. So, yeah. But let's just see what Petone can do here.
Petone at their own scrum. No binding. Lack of binding is the issue there. So, it's a Cardinal still in the front row, getting penalised against your own feed.
Not binding was actually a call for a penalty.
Oh, it's in the law book, Matthew.
There are new laws every year as well, especially the high tackle law. I don't think that's out, is it? No, it is.
Well, it's found touch, only just. And it's going to be pretty much just short of halfway. Wainui line out directly in front of their dugout. Lea Lofit with the throw. Over the top. Teru teammate with the ball, but it was knocked on first by Petone.
Really?
Yes, it was. There were two knock-ons, one first by Petone and the second one by Wainui. So, scrum centre field for Wainuiomata. And there's a Wainuiomata on his haunches as the medic comes on. And so we're just going to have time off here. Probably a chunk of mud in his eyes, which would be totally understandable. So we're roughly about 7 minutes, 14 points to 8. Let's have a look at some of the other scores around the grounds. 29-0, Old Boys University ahead of Wellington Axemen. 12-8, Marist St. Pat's ahead of Pornicket. 24-0 still between Huddle Boys Marist and Oriental Rongotai. 5-0, the Upper Rams ahead of the Avalon Wolves. And Johnsonville have hit the lead against Tar. And still no score update between Northern United and Parramatta Plymouton. So it looks like another exciting round of rugby in the Swindale Shield, Matthew.
All the games this year have actually been pretty close, but you don't know what team's going to be doing good one week and what team's going to be doing bad. Like Tawa, for example, they're close with Johnsonville, but they weren't close with us the couple of weeks ago. So there's definitely a lot of a closer competition this year compared to last year, I believe.
Speaking about Tawa, of course, they've won their last two on the road, particularly by 1 point. So it's their third game on the road. Tony put the shunt on it. To Tyler Tane, they're now starting to open up here, but Wainuiomata. Ball's come loose, but it's been dragged down off the leg of a Wainui player, and it's still in their possession. Time again, the workhorse, puddles forward. Jack Ross tries to counter up through. It's come out for Petone, and here they go. Teddy Hearn running forward, centre field towards halfway. Green, he looks for options, gives it back to Ferreira, who decides to have a go and take it into contact.
Oh.
He's got through the ball! Came from Ferreira out to Marcus Royal again.
He's that tiny, but the full work, it works in favour for him too. Size doesn't matter in rugby. The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Help the Petone forwards. Wainuiomata stretches it out. Sau kicks it straight down. Wainuiomata 10 metres inside their own half on the eastern touchline, with roughly about 3 minutes to go in the first half. Yes, more mud being wiped out of the eyes as the centre of the recreational ground descends into mud and puddle. And of course, around 20 past 3 this morning, there was a massive weather bomb that hit the Wellington region, followed by another one around 8 o'clock this morning. The amount of rain that came down in just short batches is just unbelievable.
Wellington weather for you though. 1 minute it can be beautiful, next minute it can be storming.
A bit of head tape being applied to one of the Wainuiomata players. It's good for, well, we have the stoppage in play. Also, the rain has stopped as well. And actually, so time back on. Line out here for Donham, taken by Ferreira. Emery takes it as Hamish Mixted nearly got slammed. But he got out of there just in time. Kershaw wrapped up very quickly. Khan Green out to Higgins. Higgins takes it into the tackle of Sa'u and been brought down. Khan Green has been charged down again. That's the second time a kick of his has been charged down in this match. Sapaya. Slow, patient build-up. Finds Jack Ross, but he's lost the ball. It slipped out of the grasper's hands. It's been picked up by Kei Tiatia. Tane finds Clark running back, and it's just bounced into a solid lake of water. And Clark's kick comes off the side of his boot. He's not happy with that one. And so a good victory there in the kicking duel for Wainuiomata. The line out directly in front of our commentary position here on the grandstand touchline. Score is 14 points to 8 with less than a minute to go in the first half.
Oh, that did not look straight.
Well, the officials have said play on, and so Wainuiomata driven back, but still in possession of the ball. Lea Lofi goes into Emery. They look to hold him up, but he's been brought down. Good patient build-up here from Wainuiomata. Again, finds Sullivan, but he's made a mistake. And that should be half-time, and it is half-time. Welcome back to the Petone Recreational Ground. Half-time score, 14 points to 8. Now, we are having some little glitches in the broadcast. Not much we can do about that, folks. We can't actually be close to where we mainly have our fibre set up because we have to broadcast on the outskirts of the grandstand, which does affect our internet feed. So there's not much we can do about that. So if you notice a small glitch in the feed, do know that's just because we don't have enough strength in the boosters. So that's probably why you're probably seeing that there might be some glitches. It was fine last week, but it's because we have to be right on the outskirts of the grandstand due to the council's decision to close it. That is the reason why. So if you keep sending messages about glitching, now you know why. Second half is about to get back underway. And it will be Petone kicking to the southern end of the Petone Recreational Ground. And Hamish Mixter gets the second half underway. And substitution, a few have come on for Wainuiomata, Campbell Cowie in jersey 21, and also Michael Leava'a are out there too for Wainuiomata. Go get the ball. Down there. Throw picked up by Petone, and they get back into their work early in the second half. Ferreira finds Teddy Hearn. Charges forward. Petone went back into the changing rooms at half-time. I think there would have been a few stern messages from Ryan Piper, the coach. Ferreira out to Emery. 4 away from the 22. But it's a penalty as a Petone couldn't release the ball in time. And the pats on the back coming on for Wainuiomata, and great defence there, Matthew.
It definitely was. I didn't get to see a lot of it just because the ball went into the grandstand, and obviously there's no one else in the grandstand. But yeah, Wainui just this half just needed front up on defence just a little bit. Excuse me, but yeah, it's a good start. I think Balin Sullivan might have come off. I don't see him out on the field.
No, Umanga Jensen is still out there. Maybe Sullivan was only allowed to play a half of rugby.
He did the job. Good on him.
Well, his last act was a knock-on at the end of the first half. Ball slapped down, picked up by Leo Lofi, runs into Jack Ross and Mason Henry, but Wainuiomata still with the ball. Out to Time, who's just, like always, head down, works hard, toils hard. An advantage being played here for Wainuiomata. Not rolling away is the call from referee Hamish Mixted.
One of the Wainui players slow to get up. See if he's all right. I think he's all good.
Well, these conditions probably favour at the moment Wainuiomata. It slows down to their advantage. So let's have a look at some of the scores that were at half-time. 12-7, Yapup Rams ahead of Avalon. 27-5, Huddle Boys Maris ahead of Oriental Rongotai. 20 points to 7, Johnsonville ahead of Tawa. 13-12, Porneki ahead of Maris St. Pat's. 39-0, Old Boys University ahead of Wellington.
Good line-out win from Wainui. Knock on, no, I believe. Yep.
No, ball is being knocked on. Umanga Jensen tries to kick it through. Bit of a splash in the mud in the Northern 22, but it's got to be a scrum for Petone. And Mason Henry and Jack Ross are under the sidelines as they're literally covered in mud and needing water to get the mud out of her eyes.
Mud in the eyes is one of the worst things ever. Sometimes it just doesn't come out, and especially when it's in your mouth guard too. Constantly having to clean your mouth guard and then realizing you got mud on your hands, so it just gets muddy again. The mud is like the most annoying part about rugby, but these types of conditions is what everyone loves to watch sometimes.
Ferreira feeds the scrum. At the back, looks for Khan Green. And he decides to put a big high Gary Owen up, chasing back after it is Campbell Cowie. He's got support of Jason Love. Cowie manages to knock it back into the 22 to avoid a knock-on. And that's a pretty good kick. As Matthew Fish has to go and chase down another ball that's landed on the grandstand because there's no one that can go and get it. And so it's going to be a Petone line out. About 15 metres away from Wainuiomata's 22 grandstand touchline. It's like an impending substitution coming up for Petone. Iona Pinero is undressed, wearing jersey 18, and looks like he'll be entering the field of play soon. The drive comes from Wainui. They're not from Petone. Not many Wainui players were committing to the ball. It's been stolen by Kei Tiatia, but the ball's come loose, and it just hits the 22 flag. And it's going to be a scrum here for Petone, as when Tiatia got the ball from the line-out drive, he knocked it on. As the range starts to open up again here at Petone Rec.
Big impact coming on.
Well, Iona Pinero has come on to the paddock, and he has replaced Sam Tornesi. Looks like he's going to be moving into lock here, Matthew.
Definitely the cleanest on the field. Comparing to Jack Ross is, you can't even see the jersey anymore. He's just fully brown now.
Front rows come together. Push comes from Petone. This is a good scrum.
Great scrum.
At the back. Now they take it out to the back line. But it's messy. Miscommunication between the backs there for Petone. Clark having to slide and get it. He's under pressure. This could be a penalty. They're lucky. A wild, weird pass from Ferreira. Kicked through by Higgins. And that will slowly roll over eastern touchline into the Wainuiomata 22.
That's a great end result. And I think Tyler Tane for Wainui, just see him limping just a little bit. Obviously, I can't tell because the numbers on the jerseys, can't see them anymore, but it just seems to be limping. So,
well, this is quite clever here from Wainui. They've got an opportunity to wash their hands in the lake at the southern end. Get all the mud that's stuck to their fingers. Lineouts have improved for Wainuiomata after a change, because the opening 20 minutes or so, their line-out wasn't functioning very well. Taylor Tane's kick comes off the right-hand side of his boot, and it's going to be a line-out for Petone. Pretty much exactly where Wainuiomata nearly had their line-out just as a matter of a minute ago. 14 points to 8 is the score. The home side ahead, Wainui scoring through Taylor Tane just before the 30-minute mark. Disrupted, but Petone managed to keep possession of the ball at the line-out. And it's a penalty here against Wainuiomata. And so Filippo pretends to look for a crook tap, but this adds to the theatrics, and so look for Green to kick this. No, they're going to put a scrum down. Interesting choice there, probably because it's so waterlogged there. Probably not good for the line out there, Matthew.
I think that's a very smart decision, because obviously having a scrum down here, you could do an 8-9 option play, you could do a short ball or an inside ball to the winger, or you could just pass it out wide and take Wainui for numbers. But definitely a smart decision considering how the lineouts have been going for both teams all game. But it's going to be a big scrum here for Petone, and if they do score from this, I feel like the game will start opening up.
Strong scrum. Petone look to push forward. Ferreira, he's got Lossie Filippo out to his left. Filippo lunges. Has he got the ball down? It looks like he's been held up. It's a try. Don't know, it's a penalty. As the scrum was pulled down. So Filippo denied a try, but a penalty here against Wainuiomata at scrum time. They'll look to put another one down here, I believe, Matthew.
I think that's the right option. But that was definitely a good play going blindside, passing to Lossie Filippo, because he's a hammer on on attack. He's a wrecking ball.
The time off here as shoelaces being undone and some substitutions happening for Wainuiomata. Jersey 17, Tui Landau is coming onto the field. This is his many games he's played in club rugby over the years. He's played for Johnsonville. He's also played for Avalon. Played 57 games for Avalon. And also coming onto the field as well as Nico Patalasio, playing his 35th game. It looks like Andrew Sa'u has come off alongside Cade Tier, but we'll confirm that soon because it's hard to identify the players at the moment when they're covered in mud. Time back on and scrum time. Another strong scrum, another advantage here against Wainuiomata. Ferreira out to Higgins, and Higgins has a slide and a dart to the line. And Riley Higgins scores for Petone, Matthew.
Great option there by Riley Higgins, and great vision also from Cam Ferreira. Riley Higgins just slices through the hole, or he could have passed it to the outside and to Lossie Filippo, but either way, there was definitely going to be a try there, but definitely great vision, and just got nothing against Wainui, obviously, but just a bit of lack of defense right there. Just a little bit too easy for the try, but yeah, the game might start opening up now, but it's obviously going to be a game of inches, mainly just because of this weather.
Well, never write off Wainuiomata, Matthew. Look, when they've been down and out, the records show the last decade, they always fight back, and they've always shown that they can fight back against Petone. Now, it took over a decade for Petone to win at William Jones Park until last year. It was the first time in a decade that Petone had won at William Jones Park. So they have shown Wainuiomata that they can fight back and really disrupt Petone. It's a real gremlin, Wainui, when they play Petone. Petone don't like it very much. Carnes Green's kick is unsuccessful, and so the score will remain 19 points to 8. Score updates from the other games in round 9 of the Swindale Shield. 12-7, Upper Hutt ahead of Avalon. Warriors are coming back now, Matthew. 27 points to 12. Huddle Boys Maris ahead of Oriental Rongotai. 20 points to 7. The Hawks ahead of Tawa. 15-13. Maris St. Pat's ahead of Porniki. And 39-0. Old Boys University ahead of the Wellington Axemen. The restart, well taken that time there by Sapaya. And the pass comes back to Carn Green, who puts the high Gary Owen up again. Chasing back after it is Tane. Uses his right foot to slam the ball into the turf. He picks it up and has a go himself. Passes it out wide to Umanga Jensen out on the wing. He gets off the tackle of Lossie Filippo, and he'll be brought down free short of halfway. 5 in from the eastern touchline. Teru Time charging forward again. Nothing will slow down Teru Time. Man is a machine. Petone looked to hold up the player. Kei Tiatia is still on the paddock, and he manages to have the ball. Katohi has a dart, runs into his opposite number, Ferreira, wearing 9.
One of the Wainui players slow to get up here.
That's Kei Tiatia. His brother Chase plays for the Western Force. Of course, previously played for the Hurricanes and the Chiefs as well. Cowie takes it into contact, slowly losing the colours of green and black on his jersey to the descending mud.
I think there might have been a knock on there.
Yes, referee Mixted has seen a knock on, as Tiatia is still down on his haunches. And referee Mixted decides to move the scrum away from the puddles of mud into an area where there is still some green on the field. So, time off here as Kei receives some attention. Except for the one substitution for Petone. Matthew, they haven't made a wholesale changes yet.
I think they're going to look to make changes around the 60, 65 minute mark, just because they want their starters to just go do the work and then let the impact players who obviously aren't used to playing 30, 40 minute games just get straight into it, get stuck into it, sorry. And also, while Khan Green was taking his conversion, Jacob Stowers Castellano, he came off for Wainuiomata, and that was just the player that we were going to confirm. Had a solid effort today as well.
Well, here's an interesting one for you. It's now 27 points to 24. Huddle Boys Maris ahead of Oris. They're coming back. The Magpies. Strong scrum again by Petone. Looking for another penalty. But they're not going to get it this time. Ball comes out to Khan Green. He looks to try and kick it in between Jason Love Rogers and also Campbell Cowie. Rogers into the puddle. Looks for a change of direction, runs into Mason Henry and Riley Higgins. Petone look to try and get over the top of the ball. The counter-ruck comes on. Wainui in danger of losing possession. But they've managed to keep it under all sorts of pressure. Michael Leava'a out to Umanga Jensen. Umanga Jensen slides and is dragged down by his Hurricanes teammate Riley Higgins. They're going to have to work hard out of here, Wainuiomata. Please for a turnover. Referee Mexted says yes. Getting over the top of the ball with Petone.
Oh, temper's a little bit high. Might want to let him go there. He hasn't done anything. A couple Wainui players coming in. Oh, I think.
Well, we're just going to wait here because referee Mexted saw what was going on. He's probably just going to have a word here to Katohi and also to Kitiona. And I believe it's just calm it down, son, and we'll come back for the original penalty. So good officiating there from Hamish Mexted.
If I was Petone, I'd put a scrum down here. See Richard Evans trying to wash his hands with the muddy water. No, well, I think Khan Green's opt to kick it out.
Flag of Ollie Mickey comes up and it will be a line out for Petone, 7 metres away from the southern line. Horrendous field conditions. The throw has been picked up by Wainuiomata. Excellent work as the throw was overthrown by Petone. Tane stretches it out to Umanga Jensen. They look to try and stretch Petone here. Umanga Jensen does extremely well. Gives the ball out to Cowie. Love Rogers has to run back. He has to kick it, but it's gone into touch. So a bit of a breakdown there in communication with the backs for Wainuiomata. And so Petone have to reset and have a line out. 7 metres outside Wainuiomata's 22.
Unfortunately there for Wainuiomata, that was looking good with Umanga Jensen's footwork, but just the last couple backs couldn't finish it off. But that's good for Wainui. They're seeing holes in Petone's defence.
2 more substitutions happening here for Wainuiomata. Jersey 19, Ma'a Tawane, who Matthew you know well from St Bernard's College, and also Iti Moananu coming on for Wainuiomata. So 2 more substitutions there.
I love Ma. He's had the weirdest haircuts. Thank God he's got the headgear on. I remember in year 11 he had the Jonah Lomu, and then the mullet, and then the baldy.
Advantage being played as the ball was knocked on by Petone. So it's going to be a scrum for Wainuiomata.
But yeah, Ma for Wainuiomata, he definitely brings that energy on and off the field, but let's see how he makes an impact. He's definitely a hard ball runner, and he's very good on defence as well.
Interesting score coming through in Super Rugby. The Fijian Drua have beaten Moana Pacifica 47-46. It sounded like a crazy game over in that one.
One point in the Oris versus Huddle Boys game. Huddle Boys still up 27-26.
Well, we just got a substitution happening here for Wainui for one of their props. It looks like he's that might be Tui Landau that's come off, and he's looks like it's going to have to be Chase Ponner coming back onto the paddock. So looks like it's an injury-related matter, that one.
Both teams have lots of injuries coming into this game as well, but yeah, Wainui's not going to have many players on the bench. They're going to have to keep on using their starters if the reserves get injured, but let's hope for the best. Hopefully they don't get injured.
Well, there's also some first 15 games on this afternoon too. St Bernard's played at 12:30 against Mana College, winning 44-0. St Pat's Silverstream have just beaten Tawa 71-7, and then a mighty upset across over in the hill, Masterton. Wairarapa College beating St Pat's Town 20 points to 19. Massive shut here by Petone, the scrum. Wainuiomata get it out just in time before any penalty could eventually come. Umaga Jensen runs into Filippo, but there is tension and back play. And referee Mexted has put a stop to proceedings.
Talking to Mason Henry here.
Well, we did just warn the players before. And he really was short on that, sharp on that whistle. And so it's going to be a scrum here for Wainuiomata. And I believe a warning has been given to both captains there now about stuff off the ball.
That's the last thing you want to see for the game. You don't want to see your players getting put in the bin just because, you know, hot heads, but let's hope not. Let's hope everything just calms down. I know there's always going to be a rivalry with Wainuiomata just because, you know, they're over the hill, but you never know. Definitely a close game here today. And on the St Bernard's versus Mana College game, I already know Nick Risden's going to be very happy with that win.
Love Rogers manages to hang on the ball. He's under pressure, but he's knocked it on. And so it'll be a Petone scrum, 5 out from the 22. With roughly about 22 minutes remaining, it's 19 points to 8 to Petone ahead of Wainuiomata, which has been a trying game.
Definitely still anyone's game as well. See the Petone bench getting warmed up. Pitt Cohen taking off his jacket. Another player out of retirement. Retirement doesn't last very long in the village, obviously.
Another strong push at scrum time by Petone. They take it out to their backs. Advantage being played here. Here goes Lossi Filippo. And Filippo passes it out to Teddy Hurd. Teddy Hurd smashes into the lake. And he'll be brought down free short of the line. Higgins, as the splash of water comes. It's like the paddling pool at Huia Pool at the moment. Ball comes out. And it's there for Wainui. It was knocked on. Obviously, the initial advantage is over. And so Wainuiomata advanced the ball out of the 5-metre area.
Oh.
But offside. Petone were offside that time. And they tap and go. Patalasia, it's a penalty. It's high. And that's just not good discipline, and he's Patalasia has taken it into Higgins. It's another advantage, and this one's for a high tackle, and this has got to have to be potentially a warning given out here. And so time off as the tensions rise here at the Rec.
Can't really do a lot there when you know, they just keep on tapping and going, but yeah, the high tackle rule is definitely a controversial one this year because apparently it's below the sternum, but yeah, a lot of the time, some of the players do tend to duck into it sometimes, but yeah, it's just really unfortunate. But yeah, the tap and goes definitely have been working for Waianui. I was about to question why they were tap and going at their 5 metre line, but now they're up to halfway and blown the kick.
Well, the kick hasn't found touch, and Khan Green decides to kick it down into Petone territory. Campbell Cowie has a juggle, but he's knocked the ball on. Understandable in these slippery conditions. Here goes Mason Henry. He kicks it forward. Can he score in his 50th? It beats everyone. And Wainuiomata still have the possession of the ball. 4 out from their try line. Nanu wrestled as we're back down in the paddling pool. Katalisia, real impact as he's come on. Love Rogers can't hang on to it. If he managed to keep hold of the ball, it could have been a great piece of movement there from Wainuiomata.
Good decision from the ref to pack down the scrum. Some of the Petone bench, I think they're getting ready to come on. As I said, around the 60-minute mark, this is usually the time Petone likes to bring on their impact players.
Well, Tui Landau has come back on for Wainuiomata. Obviously wasn't an injury-related matter before. So Petone scrum. 6 metres inside, Wainuiomata's 22. 5 in from the grandstand touchline, and they look to push again. At the back with Sapaya. Ferreira watches, but Wainui have done well here. Green. Out to Evans. TJ Clark looks for Filippo. Done very well. Of a quick pass, and Filippo fends off. One test All Black, Peter Umaga Jensen, and he'll sail over and score. Just a reward for Filippo because he's been a pretty active player this afternoon, Matthew.
Great try by Lossi Filippo, obviously utilising his massive fin with all his power and also utilising his inside-outside step. Definitely great way to get around someone who's got a lot of experience. And Peter Umaga Jensen, obviously, as Brad said, one test All Black. But yeah, that's definitely the try that Petone needed. And I think, yeah, a couple of the Petone benches come on, but yeah, that is definitely what Petone needed for this game. And great try by Lossi Filippo in the corner. Kick to come, but it will be a hard one.
So Petone extend their lead out to 24 points to 8. And it looks like it will be TJ Clark to line up the conversion attempt. He's taken this quite far back. 5 in from the eastern touchline, about 12 away from the 22. He's gone for a bit of distance here, Matthew.
I'd probably take it a lot closer if I was him. Oh.
Well, it's got the distance, but not the direction, as it lands into the lake at the southern end of the Petone Recreational Ground. So the score will remain 24 points to 8. Let's have a look at some of the other scores from around the grounds in club rugby with less than 20 minutes to go. 17-7, the Upper Hutt Rams ahead of Avalon. Huddle Boys Marist narrowly ahead of Oriental Rongotai, 34 points to 26. 27-7, Johnsonville ahead of Tawa. Marist St. Pat's ahead of Pornicki, 22-13.
And the kick hasn't gone the distance. I think it went about 1 metre, actually.
And 44-0, Old Boys University ahead of the Wellington Axemen. And so it'll be a scrum centre field for Petone. And 2 more substitutions coming on for, well, 3 actually for Wainuiomata. Pete Cowan and Luke Flett, followed by Jacob Tainui coming onto the field. And a good work in the forward department for Petone, particularly in the second half in scrums. Brian Emery and Marcus Royal, and the captain Khan Green coming off. So TJ Clark looks like he's going to be moving into the first 5 position. I think many people were hoping to see Stanley Solomon maybe give it a go at 10. the second half, but unfortunately he ruled himself out with a hamstring niggle. Might be an opportunity next week against Wellington for him.
Let's hope so. But also, while TJ Clark was taking his kick, Teddy Hearn came off. Great shift today for Jonathan Bailey. Yeah, Teddy Hearn. You'd think he'd been playing for Petone for the last 10 years, but 11 games, but he's definitely fronted up to the role today, especially in these types of conditions.
Made his debut in 2022 against Northern United, Teddy Hearn. And he has stepped up and worked pretty well this season.
Definitely a standout last year for the Premier 2s during the finals against Stokes Valley. We took that one out, as well as the rampaging Jared Adams.
Well, it's interesting enough. It's uncontested scrums, Matthew. And so the kick has been taken into the 22, and the mark has been called by Wainuiomata. The kick has gone into touch, and so it's going to be the line out for Petone, 12 metres inside Wainuiomata's territory. So must have run out of front rowers, maybe, I think, in the Wainui reserves, maybe.
Most likely. Good catch by Campbell Cowie. He's had a couple of mishaps with his hands, but definitely a good catch.
He's a good player, Campbell Cowie, product of Wellington College. Played a season for Old Boys University in 2019, and also Tawa in 16 and 18, but since 2021 he's been playing his trade out for Wainuiomata. Talented player. Mason Henry secures the ball at the line at Ferreira. TJ Clark finds Yona Apanero, and they swarm around Apanero quickly. You don't want to give him any space. Yona Apanero, he can be a damaging runner. Pet Cowan, former Wallaby prop forward. The coaching crew of the Petone team this season. Played for the Wellington Lions last year.
Legend of the game.
TJ Clark kicks it through, tries to follow up his own kick. Umaga Jensen's there to tidy it up. He's been brought down. About 10 short of the 10-metre mark, centre field.
Jack, look out! Jack, look out! Jack, look out!
Tohi passes the ball out. But it's been knocked on. And so it'll be a Petone scrum. And it looks like another substitution here for Petone. It will be Mason Henry's brother, Taylor Henry, coming on to the field, wearing jersey 22. His 28th game.
Lester Malolo coming off. Good shift today. Good on defence as well.
Yes, pretty trying conditions out there, as the field is very waterlogged, very heavy. The amount of water that fell down this morning.
This is definitely a game that both teams can reflect on. And there's a lot of positives to come out of this game too. Both teams, good defense. Petone the better attack, but Wainui have looked good in some places. But it's gritty from both teams.
Higgins dragged down by Tane. Clark can't get it, but there's a penalty as there was a high tackle.
Didn't take long for Taylor Henry to get all dirty. Taking the points.
Take the points. Well, you probably could hear Khan Green on our Atmos mock. He is not on the field, but he said, cool, take the points. So that's the decision. And it'll be TJ Clark to line up this penalty attempt. This to make it 27 points to 8 if successful.
I don't know if Khan Green talks more on the field or off it. Looks like he's having a great time on the bench.
Well known for having a good yarn is Khan Green. TJ Clark.
Good.
Misses. Yes, it misses. The kick is unsuccessful. And so it'll be a dropout for Wainuiomata.
I think next break, Leighton Tupper's warming up. Jersey 21.
Well, they decide to go for a short dropout. Very short Wainui, and they've got possession of the ball. Catching Petone napping there.
And knocked on. That's unfortunate from Wainui.
Well, particularly for Teru Time, he's toiled hard all afternoon, like he always does. Real legend of the Wainuiomata Rugby Club. St Bernard's old boy. Richard Evans's afternoon has come to an end. Leighton Tupper, product of Hunt National Boys School, comes onto the paddock. Made his debut against Northern United last year in 2022.
Good shift from Richie today. Always a good player. Sad he cut the mullet off though. It looks completely different. I didn't even realise he was on.
Filippo centre field out to Tainui. Wrapped up quickly as Jacob Tainui. And the ball has been knocked on. So Wainuiomata look to stretch it out. Wild pass back into their 22. Love Rogers chasing back after it. Referee Mexted said no advantage. Coming back for scrum for Wainuiomata.
I think the last 10 minutes of this game might be very, very stop and start, but you know, hopefully we get some good passages of play from both teams.
The only problem sometimes in these conditions is the game can get quite scrappy. Uncontested scrum. I think that will be the case for the rest of the game. Interesting to see the decision of that after the game is finished, what it was for.
I'd say just Wainui's injuries, really.
Teammate wrapped up by Cowan. Good, slow, patient build-up as they look to try and stretch Petone out here. Leighton Tupper goes low on Patalacio. Higgins trying to get over the top.
A little knock on there.
A penalty against Petone as they're offside. As you can really hear the sound and the slush of the mud.
Can smell it too. Ooh.
This is the good thing about rugby. This is why we play the game. Not so good for the washing bill later in the week.
Mum used to do the washing for the juniors. Whenever it got muddy, she dread that they should have to go to the laundromat.
Yeah. Tohi out to Umaga Jensen. Looking to catch them out napping. This is a good run here by Wainuiomata. Catching Petone napping out on their right-hand side. Can they come up with some points, Wainuiomata? Tane, centre field to Leavara. Skips in front of Umaga Jensen, hands of Lea Lofi. Umaga Jensen again runs into Higgins and he's going to be pushed into touch.
Unfortunate there for Wainuiomata. That's kind of been the story all game, really. Good breaks, like good-looking attack plays, but then just can't really finish it off. Something to build on next week, I'm sure of.
Throw's not straight, so look, a disappointment from the hooker, and so it's going to be a scrum 15 metres in on the grandstand touch line. With about 7 minutes left in the match, let's have a look at some of the other scores from around the grounds. 17-7, the Up Rams ahead of Avalon. 37 points to 26. Huddle Boys Maris ahead of Oriental Rongotai. 27 points to 12. The Johnsonville Hawks ahead of Tawa. 22-13. Maris St. Pat's ahead of Porniki. And 49-0. Huddle Boys University ahead of the Wellington Axemen.
Little knock on here from Wainuiomata. Good kick here from Khan Green. Oh, no, sorry, Khan Green.
Cam Ferreira. And chasing after is Jack Ross, the big lock. He kicks it through. Leighton Tupper can't get hold of it either. Picked up by Dion Lealofi. Great cover work there by Campbell Cowie. And a good charge. Excellent work by Wainuiomata, showing grit and determination. Ball's been passed back, a wild pass. Jason Love having to tidy that one up. Comes out to Umunga Jensen. Looks to fend off Higgins, but he's been cracked down by the ankle. But he's still going. Over the top was Mason Henry. He's got the penalty. Stayed on his feet long enough and earned it.
You wouldn't think Jack Ross is retired by the way he was running to chase that ball.
Oh, no. Yeah. He's running like Farley.
It's unfortunate there not to get the kick go his way, but Jack Ross, that's what he does. Thank God he's not retired anymore. Sure, we'll be feeling it in the body tomorrow, though.
Well, particularly in the calves of this weather, particularly the field is so heavy. Jack Ross secures it, and they put the ball into quarantine and go for the drive. Wainuiomata defending well here, slowing it down, but there's an advantage being played. The ball's become separated. And Wainuiomata looking to slow it down. The referee Mixted has had enough. Blows up the penalty. Coming through the side, through the drive. And so Tony will just plug the corner again. They still sense they've got another try left in them. Line out on the 5x5, southern end of the Petone Recreational Ground. 24 points to 8. Ross secures it again. And they look to try and drive, but at this time unsuccessful. Will the ball come available just in time for Petone? They do. They pick and go. Free short of the line. Hard to see as the binoculars come out. Reaching in. That's been held up, but coming back for a penalty. And so Petone, another penalty, look to probably plug the corner again. That's what TJ Clark is going to do. Full time at Evans Bay Park. Maris St. Pat's have beaten Porniki, 29 points to 13. There, the battle of Kilburnie. Yet again, Flett finds the target of Ross, and they put the ball into the drive. Can Wainuiomata hold them out? It's at the back. They're wrestling forward. There's Mason Henry. They push, the mud slushes. They're looking, they pick and go, they've scored. Great work and determination. And it looks like it's, might be Pete Cow in there, Matthew, that might be getting the plaudits in the back maybe.
All the retired players are doing great today. Oh my God. But nah, definitely great push from Petone there, utilising their lineouts to full perfection. Just Cam Ferreira also telling the players that were in, telling the back, sorry, that were in the line, get in there. We're going to score here. We're going to put the game to bed. And with 3 minutes, about 2 minutes left, I think the game's put to bed just about by now.
So 29 points to 8 for the conversion to come. TJ Clark lining this one up as the heavens open up again. And I think for a lot of the supporters, they're probably going to go home and have a warm shower. And that is full time here at the Petone Recreational Ground. The home side, Petone, winning 29 points to 8. Wainuiomata putting in a gritty performance. This field is going to need a lot of sun. And we haven't had a lot of sun, in particular in the North Island in 2023. But Petone getting the win. Wainuiomata making it hard for them, Matthew.
Petone definitely the better team today, but I feel like the score doesn't overly reflect the game too much. It was a game of inches today, and obviously a lot of mistakes by both teams. Petone just capitalizing on the opportunities that they had, but Wainui definitely, they put in the hard yards today. Unfortunately, they couldn't come out with a lot, but they'll have a lot of confidence going to the next game knowing that they put in a great performance today.
Many thanks to Matthew Fisher joining the co-commentary again this afternoon. Many thanks to our cameraman, Dan Hicks, as always. We were the lucky few up here in the grandstand, making sure that we could bring you this broadcast. It's been a pleasure bringing you this round 9 match between Petone and Wainuiomata. The home side winning 29 points to 8. We'll be back next Saturday for Petone's last home game of the first round as they play host to the Wellington Axemen.